السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم، ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر. يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. So Ramadan has started and we've all been trying to do more than what we normally do. So we've been reading like more Quran, praying more and fasting. And so I wanted to say a few things that would, if we were to go by Ramadan without doing them, it would be like we would have missed out on a lot, okay? So the first thing is Quran, okay? So Quran, it was revealed on Laylatul Qadr. And Laylatul Qadr was brought up to a higher status because the Quran was revealed on that night. So because it was revealed, it was made equivalent to Alfi Shahr, okay? So one night was made into 1,000 months because of the Quran. So the Quran elevated its status. And then since Laylatul Qadr is inside the month of Ramadan, Ramadan was raised in status too, and that's why we fast, okay? So Ramadan is important because of the Quran. The Quran was revealed in Ramadan. So whatever the Quran is in, it elevates. So in Ramadan especially, the Quran has extra reward. Outside of Ramadan, the Quran has reward of 10 per letter, okay? But during Ramadan, it has outside of Ramadan too, but in Ramadan especially, it has the potential to go extremely higher than that. Okay? So we should read more Quran. And it's the sunnah also during Ramadan to finish the Quran at least once. Okay? Because the Prophet ﷺ did that with Jibreel every year, and in the last year of his life, he finished it twice. So a lot of people usually try to follow that sunnah. So we should try and finish the Quran. If we can't, there's different levels of people. So of course, for some people, they may get more rewards because they read it 5 juz, even though they can barely read. But then other people who can read it extremely easily and easily finish the Quran once, and they only finish it once in Ramadan, maybe they'll get less rewards than the person who did less. Okay? Because the intention was greater and the effort was more. So that's the first thing. The first thing was Quran. The second thing is, there's a hadith that says, referring to Ramadan, مَنْ قَامَهُ إِيمَانًا وَاحْتِسَابًا غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. So basically, whoever stands in the night of Ramadan, all of his past, or with sincere faith and expecting rewards sincerely, then all of his past sins are forgiven. Okay? So that's a big deal. Okay? So that's why people pray Taraweeh, that's why people pray Tahajjud, and especially during Ramadan, you see like the masajid are usually full with people who never pray Qiyamul Layl any other time of the year, and they're only praying during Ramadan. Okay? Because it has that much reward. And especially in the last 10 nights, people pray more Tahajjud and stuff like that. Tahajjud is specifically when you pray Qiyamul Layl right before Fajr. Okay, so it's when you go to sleep and then you wake back up, you pray, and then, yeah. So, first thing was Quran, and then the second thing was Taraweeh. And so those two things, they're sunnah, and they're great to do, and if you don't do them, there is no harm. But if you do them, then, well, if you don't do them, you're missing out on a lot. But if you do them, you will get a lot. And then, so then the third thing is fard. Okay, that's fasting. Anybody who's eligible must fast. Okay, that's fard. But during fasting, the big question for most people is, why do we fast? And a lot of people have come up with some random answers because they wanted to. So a lot of people say like we want to feel like the poor people and the hungry people. But if that were the case, then the poor and the hungry people wouldn't have to fast. Okay? The real reason is in Surah Baqarah. It's in Ayah 183. And it's in the ayah, it says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Okay? So, O you who believe, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ. It's been like prescribed upon you to fast. Okay? So, it's obligatory upon you to fast. Fard. كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُم, like it has been on the people before you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And now that's the answer. So that you can gain taqwa. Okay? So the whole point of Ramadan, the whole point of fasting during Ramadan is to gain taqwa. And taqwa is like a consciousness of Allah. It's knowing that if you do something bad, even if nobody sees you, you will get punished for it. And if you do something good, then you will get rewarded for it. So in Ramadan specifically, this works because when we're fasting, and if nobody's watching, and there's like a snack in front of you, and then you choose consciously not to eat it because you're fasting, even though nobody else would know that you ate it, that's taqwa. That is knowing that Allah is watching you and knowing that you must fast. So that's how you would gain taqwa during Ramadan. And it helps you specifically with like self-control and stuff like that. Because taqwa, it helps you in remembering that Allah is there, but it also helps you outside of Ramadan in that, like, if you really want a video game or you really want to watch a TV show, but you don't have time for it because, you have to study or you have to do something else, then you can tell yourself no, because in Ramadan you said no to the food, okay? And the food probably, you were more tempted to eat the food than you want whatever other thing. So it helps you with self-control and consciousness. So the whole point of Ramadan is to better ourselves. It's so that we don't go into Ramadan and then come out exactly as we went in. Because Ramadan is, like, you know how every year at New Year's they say, have your New Year's resolution? For most people, for Muslims, usually, it should be you want to come out of Ramadan better than you went in. For other people, it's usually, I want this year to be the best year of my life, okay? But in Ramadan, we have that specific time for it, okay? We have that specific time to like, take your time and better yourself and start focusing on your own like self-control and stuff like that. So Salah and Qiyam and Quran, they're very important, and we shouldn't also stop memorizing. A lot of people during Ramadan, they'll start reading the Quran and then they'll maybe finish the entire Quran during Ramadan, but they'll entirely stop memorizing when they should continue memorizing, because we need to memorize, we need to review, and we need to continue finishing and just reading so that we can better ourselves in not only like the worldly stuff, not only in the secular studies, okay? Because we better ourselves in that. A lot of us try our best to get the best score, and a lot of us study hard and study before an exam, but not many of us sit down and actually try and think about our next life and think about what the consequences of ignoring certain things are, okay? So the point of Ramadan, it's important because of Quran, and it was elevated by it. So if you were to allow Quran to enter your life, imagine how much you would be elevated. Because Quran elevated a day, or even a night, greater than 1,000 months. So imagine what it can do for you if you were to allow it into your life, okay? So, أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. So yeah, Quran, Qiyam, and fasting, okay? Important things during Ramadan. Fasting being the most important because it's the only obligatory one. It's only fardh. For the second khutbah, I wanted to like go to kind of a different topic and kind of like stray away a little bit to something that confuses a lot of people, because most people, they hear this and then they're like, wait, but that doesn't make sense, because they couldn't make sense of it. So there's a hadith that says, إِذَا دَخَلَ شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ السَّمَاءِ. When the month of Ramadan comes, the doors of like the skies or like heaven, Jannah, are opened, okay? وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ جَهَنَّمَ. And the doors of Jahannam are closed, okay? وَسُلْسِلَتْ الشَّيَاطِينَ. And the shayateen are locked up. So most people are like, okay, Jannah is opened, okay, so it's easier to get into Jannah. Jahannam is closed, so it's harder to get into Jahannam. But what does it mean, وَسُلْسِلَةِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, that the shayateen are locked up? Because specifically, we still kind of do bad things in Ramadan, even though shayateen are locked up. So does that mean that we're inherently evil or anything like that, okay? That's where people are usually confused. And the answer to that is pretty much that outside of Ramadan, shaitan influences us and influences our nafs, like our soul, and influences us to do bad things. And then we constantly have the habit to do that bad thing, okay? So if you're constantly missing Fajr before Ramadan, for like 2 months before Ramadan, and you don't make it for a day, and then you're constantly, every single day, you're like, oh, shaitan made me miss Ramadan, or made me miss Fajr, okay? Then Ramadan comes, and you're like, okay, shaitan's locked up, so I'm going to make Fajr tomorrow. But then you miss Fajr the first day of Ramadan. Then the reason for that is because shaitan has programmed that person in a way that he doesn't need to be there anymore to like inflict his influence, okay? So your nafs basically does his work for him, okay? Because you have been so trained to do that. But if someone is constantly missing Fajr and then they want to fix that, they should come up with like a correct, like long term, even short term, but most people it's easier for them long term to try and make Fajr so that eventually they can make it every day. Well, that's just an example. So essentially, the nafs is the reason why we do bad things during Ramadan, because even though shaitan is locked up, our nafs is so trained to do bad things or those specific bad habits, like say you're watching too much TV, or like you're missing your salawat, or you're disobeying your parents. your nafs is so used to that during Ramadan, even though shaitan isn't there, it still does it. Okay? It may be easier to like go around it because shaitan isn't there, but most likely most people will still do it. So yeah, during Ramadan, important things are qiyam and specifically during the night, okay? Praying during the night. Especially on the last 10 days, you should try and pray more during the night, and some people even do i'tikaf. I'tikaf is probably like of the best things that you can do during Ramadan, because that just shows that like you would spend 10 days of your time in the masjid so that you can catch one night, okay? Because of the importance of that one night. It shows that that person really understands the importance of Laylatul Qadr because the Quran was revealed on it, okay? Other people, sometimes people go to i'tikaf and then they do other things, like maybe they'll like watch TV shows and stuff like that. But most people who go to i'tikaf do that, and they should be doing the salah and Quran and stuff like that, specifically during the night. So specifically during Ramadan, qiyam is important and Quran is important because it was the month that it was revealed in. That's the main reason why Ramadan is important, because the Quran was revealed in. It was elevated because of the Quran, and we should try to elevate ourselves with the Quran. And then fasting, of course, because it's fard, and because it is, even there are health benefits to fasting too. But because whenever anything is fard, there is a benefit in the worldly sense, even if we don't know it. Okay, so for some people fasting may be hard. If they have a legitimate excuse, it's fine. But for like if someone's like 14, they have great health, and then they're like, oh, I get hungry, that's not a legitimate excuse. So, and also we fast so that we can gain taqwa. Okay, taqwa is consciousness of Allah being there, and the reason why we still do bad things during Ramadan is because of our nafs. Okay, even though shaitan is locked up. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك أقم الصلاة